Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AOR Hype Energy Season 4 Formula 2 Sprint League here on the PC. We're here at the home of motorsport for the 7th round and the British Grand Prix. We're here at a classic circuit. It is, of course, Silverstone. Silverstone with a track that has 18 corners, 8 to the left and 10 to the right. That was remodeled back for the Grand Prix in 2011. It is 5.8 kilometers long, and we're going to see the beautiful Formula 2 cars round the track here tonight. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we unfortunately was unable to stream the Austrian Grand Prix, but we are back here for, of course, the beautiful British Grand Prix. This week, in the commentary box, it will only be myself, Rendtorff, because Jacob unfortunately couldn't be here with me. But nonetheless, I'm sure that we'll be able to produce some great commentary here from the AOR channel. Currently, we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up so we can get down to the one-shot qualification. Of course, here tonight, it is with the F2 cars. It consists of 3 sessions in total. First, a one-shot qualifying that will decide the grid for the feature race, and after that, we will see we'll see the top 8 from the feature race be switched over. So, first place will start from 8th, second place will start from 7th, and so on and so forth, and that will do the starting lineup for the sprint race. In the feature race, you get 25 points for winning the Grand Prix, and in the sprint race, you only get 15. Both races gives you 2 points for the fastest lap, and there is a full 8 points to collect for getting pole position. But as I said, currently we are just waiting for the drivers to ready up. Looks like we are experiencing some difficulties getting everyone in the session and into the cars, but I'm sure that we will see them in the cars very quickly. Whilst we wait, we can have a look at the championship standings. Currently, we are having Flash 224 in the lead with 164 points. Right behind him with a 20-point gap, we have Richie B. He has 144 points. Then we have McCree in 3rd place with Tudor right behind him. And then we go down to Sebster in 5th and Heiko in 6th, Dominic in 7th. Darius falls down into 8th place. Haspen in 9th, and Fissimon rounds out the top 10 of our championship standings. Then after that, we have Neil Bywater, we have Lasher, we have Ashries, we have Steph Farrell, we have Jack, we have Steve Jackson, we have Bylight, and down the back we have Off Slaves, although he has been unable to attend most Grand Prix this season. But now, it is time for qualifying, and the drivers have readied up. The drivers will be finishing their final setup bits. Of course, the setup they choose here will be the one that they have to run with in the race. And of course, the top 10 will also be starting on the tyre that they're qualifying on. So some drivers might choose to go with a bit of a harder compound tyre for the qualifying, for them to be able to go the long way in the race. but nonetheless, the drivers will just make every single change they believe will make them quicker for the race, and then they'll be going out to set the fastest time possible. Of course, remember, they only have one attempt. They, of course, only have this one lap round the circuit, a circuit that can be quite challenging at times, a circuit that has 3 DRS zones as well, so that is something to look forward to. Oh, sorry, it only has 2, of course. Got my circuits mixed up there, but of course 2 DRS zones and a couple of nice straights. As we will go down to the track now, we will go on board. We'll go on board with our championship leader, Flash. He's in 6th place, coming through the first corner of I'm looking at the wrong map. He's coming down into, I believe that is, I can't remember, but he's coming onto the Wellington Straight. I'm terribly sorry there for completely missing my corner names here at Silverstone. But he's coming down the Wellington Straight, of course, down to Brooklands turn number 6. That'll then turn to the right hand of Luffield there. Tries to get as long to the left as possible before taking that long right hander that gives you the best exit down the old start finish straight, coming through Woodcut there. That small right hander kink, and this is of course the old start finish straight. Then he comes in to the beautiful Cops corner, a corner that's in the F2 or F1 cars are taken flat out, but in these cars it will be taken with a bit of a lift. Then coming into Maggots and Beckett's, first left, then right, then left again, then braking a bit for the right hander once again before going flat out through Chapel, opens the DRS and on to the back straight. Currently Flash in first place here in this qualifying session. He'll now be coming down to Stowe, a quick corner there where you shift 2 gears down before going flat again through that right hander, then a small kink that isn't a corner, and then into the Vale complex at the end. And then he will come across the line, Tudor and himself battling for that first place. Then the final corner comes through, he'll run up to the line, he'll take pole position with a 1:37.019, and Tudor with a 1:37.085. It is so close between these two drivers. And then behind you'll have Haspin and Fissimon and Steve Jackson. They're getting disqualified from the session. Interesting there. But let's see, as we'll be able to see how the drivers will line up. Of course, you heard the top 4 there, but how will the rest be? We have Flash on pole, Tudor in 2nd, Haspin takes 3rd position, Fissimon in 4th, Heiko in 5th, Stefferel takes 6th, Sebster takes 7th, Dominic in 8th, Lasher takes 9th, Darius in 10th, and the final position in the points there that we'll be seeing in the race. And then Neil Bywater in 11th, Bylight in 12th, Steve Jackson got unfortunately disqualified. Same with Richard B, so they'll be starting in 13th and 14th round the back of the grid. But fantastic time there from Tudor with a 66 thousandths gap down to Tudor in 2nd place. So those two drivers really close here for qualifying, and that is just great to see. As now coming into the feature race, it is raining. It's not raining that much, so I think we'll only be seeing intermediate conditions, but it is still rain. It is still something that the drivers will have to watch out for now coming into the into the race, which is always exciting to see. And it'll be interesting to see how the drivers will fare after a very dry qualifying. Of course, you do have to run different setups, but they can't run any other setup than what they had in the qualifying, because we're running under parc fermé conditions, or in English, closed pit lane, which means that you can't change your setup, or there's at least only very few things you can change. That's, of course, I believe it's front wing angle, and it is your brake bias that you can change coming into the race compared to qualifying. So these drivers are setting themselves up for a challenge now, since some of the drivers might have gone with a more conservative setup, knowing that there might have been rain. So some of them might have gone with a bit more wing setting for the qualifying, and then have compromised themselves, but then being better suited for the race that we're coming into now. As we'll see the drivers line up for the formation lap, and oh, I'm mistaken. The drivers will take to the track with full wet. Let's just see how the other drivers have chosen their tyre. The details there. Everyone going out on full wet, as my camera has locked itself in TV pod mode, which is unfortunate, but I'm sure that we will be able to make do. Further down the field we have the likes of Steph Farrell. Also here, he's done quite well in the qualifying today. He isn't doing the best in the standings, but he's only been here for one race. Came in the last round at the Austrian Grand Prix. He was in the championship last season, did quite well, but was just unable to be here from the beginning there. As there we go, my game deciding now to go into the broadcaster mode. Thank you very much. But Steffarel in 14th, took 6th place in both races in the race from 2 weeks ago in the last round at Austria. And I'm sure after what we saw last season with him that we will be able to see some great battling and some great racing from his side. He showed time and time again last season that he was up for the fight and he was able to be there when it was important. Bit of desync, I believe we're experiencing with someone. That might be Biolight, or that might just have been him having a small spin here in the attempt to warm his tyres. Of course, in these conditions, it can be very hard to get tyre temperature, and it is very hard to keep tyre temperature, and then it can also be very, very hard to keep it in a straight line coming out of corners where you just want to get the throttle down. You might just want to go for that overtake into the next corner, and then you just get a bit too eager, and then you can easily spin around, especially if you lost a bit of temperature in the tyres. But now we will be able to see who got their tyres warmed up perfectly. The drivers will be lining up on the grid for the 15-lap feature race before coming into the sprint race afterwards. The first driver to line up will be Flash, but he'll have Tudor right behind him, able to pounce if he doesn't get a good enough start. The drivers further behind will be sat on the grid for a bit further, so their temperatures will be falling a bit. So let's see who have been able to take that into account and who hasn't, and who has gotten the time management perfect and who hasn't. Here the 5 red lights are coming on. And there we go, it's lights out and away we go for the drivers there. Flash getting an alright start there, able to run away from the rest of the field. Same with Tudor just behind. There's some squabbling for position just a bit further behind there. I believe that's Fissimon trying to go for the move. Further behind we just have Darius there diming it down the inside of Haspen, coming up into 6th place there. They're side by side coming into Village there now into the loop. Looks like Darius got in the position over Haspen right behind there in 7th place. Further behind we're seeing even more battling there. You can see how the positions have changed. Heiko getting an absolute electric start, jumping up 2 positions up into 3rd place for him. Further behind, we're seeing other drivers like Darius getting great starts, up 4 positions for him. Further behind, we're seeing Richie B up 5 positions. So these drivers at the back just able to get through the drivers in front that just haven't been able to get the best start. Further behind, we're seeing drivers like Steph Farrell in 11th place, lost 5 positions. He's had an absolute disastrous start. But I'm sure that he'll be able to just get his head down and just fight as much as possible to get those positions back, because he wants to be in that top 10 and especially in the top 8 that will grant you pole position for the sprint race. Now, looking further ahead, we're seeing the battle for 6th place. We have Darius right in front of Haspen. Haspen in 7th place there, but there's battling, there's challenge from behind there. You're seeing Lasher, he's wanting to make the move, he's trying to find it around the outside. Further ahead, we're seeing Fissimon and Darius battle out. Fissimon, they're down the inside trying to defend that position. Further behind you saw the drivers Darius Haspin try and battling it out. Now, that's Darius trying to go around the outside. Will he be able to find the space? He'll turn to the inside. But no, he just wasn't able to get his nose far in front. Far enough in front on Fissimon. Now further ahead we're seeing here Sebster and Heiko battle a bit. Sebster goes up into 3rd place, taking now that podium position. We're on lap 2 now. The drivers, they'll be able to just find that rhythm, settle in, but I'm sure some of these drivers, they'll be battling even harder now that we've gone a bit into the race, because their tire temperature might have gone up a bit. It might have gone into that sweet spot. Others might have fallen a bit. So it's now that we might be able to see a bit more battling. Further behind now, you're still seeing that battling for that, well, it is 5th place. It is a big train all the way from Lasher in 9th place that's trying to gain up that reverse grid pole position all the way up to Fissimon in 5th place, whereas Darius right behind him has been there trying to find a way past Darius, but that might hurt him because now behind Richie B, as he didn't get the best exit, Richie B will be coming from behind, trying to battle. He goes down the inside now. They'll be coming up to Cop's corner. Will Richie B be able to keep it on the inside? It's hard enough to go for a move there in the drive. What about in the wedge there? He gets the better exit and he's able to go down the inside and get the position as they're coming in. 2 Maggots and Meggots there. But is Haspin able to fight back? No, just not yet. Has to just sit behind and wait for a bit. You see the driver just behind there, Vlasher, who's just interested in just seeing if he could find a way past Haspin now as they're coming into Stowe. Oh, he was looking, he was thinking about it, but no, he was unable to go for the move this time round. Of course, these drivers won't be able to get any DRS off each other because we are in the wet conditions, so we won't be able to see this infamous DRS train forming. Luckily, you could say that. As you can see, the drivers are so close just in front there. You're seeing Richie B and Darius as well. Will Richie B go for the move into the first complex of corners here? No, he just sticks back. What about Lasher? No, decides to stick back as well. So these drivers are clever not to go for any too audacious moves. But now around the outside, it looks like he wants to go, but no. Unable to find the space there. Haspin defending well, going a bit defensive to Lasher behind, and doing it so that Lasher won't be able to find a way past. Now, Richie B for 6th place. Will he be able to find a way past Darius now as they're coming into Brooklands? There you see Darius going very defensive. Round the outside, Richie B is forced, but no. Then it'll be round the outside for Littlefield there. The switchback move really making it through there. That's nicely. They're side by side now through Littlefield there. Hard corner to do so, but Richie B able to get the better traction down on the exit and able to go up into 6th place, leaving Darius behind there for 7th place and leaving him in the grasp of Haspin, who will be hoping to get his way with him in a lap or two. Further behind there, I believe that was Dominic you saw go very wide. Of course, Cop's corner. When you come through there, you're trying to just maximize your speed, especially on the exit there, as you're coming into Maggots and Beckers. So you just saw Dominic there, or it might have been Steph Farrell, at least one of those 2 drivers behind, just went very wide, and that means that you're getting a better exit, of course, on the exit, and just more speed, more traction to go into Maggots and Beckers, and sometimes you're able to get an overtake out of it. Now, looking just behind Haspin here, we're seeing Lasher. He's been close for many laps now, but unable to find a way past. He'll be quite tired of looking at the front end of that Campos car in the front there, and you just see he's all the way up in that gearbox, almost touching, actually is touching. There it goes down the inside into Village. Will he be able to get the move done? They're side by side now. They'll be side by side coming into the loop as well. Round the outside is Lasher and just unable to hold it. But now we'll have to look at the battle for 1st place. We can't just look down the field the whole time. And look at this. Tudor able to catch up. Behind some yellow flags. I believe that is for BioLite. He might have had a spin through the first couple of corners, But look at this, we're seeing a battle forming for first place. Shooter, after not getting the best start and bogging a bit down from Flash, he's now able to catch up to him, able to just be right behind. And on the lap before, I believe it was within 0.2 of a second. So Shooter now really able to get his tire temperatures into the right space and just be so close to Flash in front. And might he find a way past soon? Who knows that he's going quicker and quicker every single lap. So Shooter's tires really lighting themselves up now. Now looking into Stowe. Oh, he was close. He was close and he was thinking about it, but just a bit too far away to be able to go for the move on this lap. And around that corner now into the Vale complex. Quite audacious to go for a move through that complex. And Shooter doing nicely to not go for the move and being clever there. Ooh, on the exit there, coming through Club. Getting a bit too weedy on the exit and lost a bit of time to Flash in front. That is of course something you'll have to stay away from. Of course, as if you want to get the overtake done, you'll have to watch out of getting those unfortunate, just small skids with the back end there. Lasher, first driver in this race to get a time penalty. As you can see there, lighting it up on the right hand or the left hand side. Beautiful there from the game to do that as something new in the update, making it a bit easier for you as a viewer and for us commentators to see who has penalties and who hasn't. Lasher there, first driver, 3 seconds, and it's something that's so easy to get through a couple of these corners, especially there through woodcuts. Sometimes you can just cut a bit too much, trying to get the best speed through there and minimizing the amount of track you need to go around. But Lasher showing, or the game showing Lasher that they do not want him to cut the corners and they want him to respect the white lines, and he was unable to do so on 3 occasions, therefore getting himself a 3-second time penalty. In the battle for the lead, we have Tudor with 8.5 tenths up to Flash. He's fallen a bit back after being very close to be able to go for an overtake, and I believe it might have been because of his small skids he's had in a couple of corners around the track. Just unable to get the traction down sometimes, as Fissimon now getting a 3-second time penalty. So a couple of these drivers unable to respect the track limits of Silverstone, something that we've seen before. Some of these drivers, not just at Silverstone but at many other tracks this season, have been unable to just stick it within the white lines, trying to be a bit too greedy, especially on the exits of corners, sometimes just trying to get the best line and it's just too wide for them, or maybe they've gone too shallow and cut the track a bit too much on the inside, and that's just not something you are allowed to do, or something that the game will allow you to do, and that way you do get some time penalties here and there. And some of these drivers have shown that it is costly and they've lost many positions on it before, and I'm sure that the drivers of Fissimon and Lasher will be losing positions. The battle now for the lead has died down a bit here on the 6th lap, lap 6 out of 15. But a battle further down that hasn't died down is between Dominic and Steph Farrell. It's the final points paying position, and Dominic down in 11th place, going down the inside of Cop's corner there. Just isn't close enough to go for the move properly. They're having to just pull out of it in the last second, but it is so close there. You're seeing Steph Farrell in front, ooh, into mountain back. It's there. Dominic was trying to find the space, but was unable to do so. Now they'll be coming down the hanger straight, down one of the back straights here. Then they'll come into Stowe. Let's see, will Dominic be able to go for the move this time round? He'll be pointing to the right hand side if Steph Farrell won't be. No, Dominic is, and he'll be going down the inside there, trying to find the space, trying to find the traction on the exit there, getting a bit of wayward. with the back end and unable to find the best amount of traction. Now around the outside, he goes in the first part of the Vale complex, but unable to keep the position through that right or that left hander, then coming into the right hand, and then on the exit of Club there, getting ever so close to losing it and going into the wall, but he keeps it on the track, keeps it in a straight line, and keeps it, unfortunately for him, behind Steph Farrell. Further in front, you're seeing Tudor getting so close to Flash 224 as Lasher picks himself up another 3-second time penalty. But in the battle for the lead, none of these drivers have time penalties, and Tudor is making the best of him to not get any. He is right behind Flash, and he's wanting to go for that move sooner rather than later. Of course, he can wait till the end of the race, of course. It is not over before the 15th lap, so he could sit behind for as long as he wants, but I'm sure that he would want to come past at some point. And here on the 7th lap, getting a bit of wayward again, just unable to keep it on the track, or unable to keep it in a straight line the whole time, and it's costing him. He's now almost outside the second off Flash, a driver that he was very close to be able to go by in the last lap. But talking about a driver that's close to be able to overtake, we have Richie B now trying to find his way around the outside, trying the switchback move on Fissimon in 5th place there. Richie B really able to keep up with him now, able to catch back up, and now he outbreaks himself coming into Vale, and he's having to pull back again. So these drivers really struggling. They're able to catch up, but then when they come up to the driver, they're just unable to keep it in a straight line and unable to get by. Now Lasher, down in 9th position, has come into the pits. I'm unsure actually in the wet conditions if they do have to pit, but nonetheless Lasher deciding to do so, deciding to strap on another set of full wets, and there's a driver that's been off. It's Tudor. Tudor's gone off the track. Tudor has gone off the track just after entry there. Catastrophe for him, causing some yellow flags. It isn't popping up on my screen unfortunately, but on the minimap I just saw he was stopped there. Tudor now falling down into 6th place. He was in the battle for the lead. He was right behind Flash on multiple occasions, and I talked about it. I talked about how he was unable to keep it in a straight line sometimes, and that has showed there once again. Just after entry, getting a bit too eager on the throttle, and then round he went, round into the grass, and that must have damaged his tyres. And with the prospect of other drivers deciding to come into the pits, I'm sure that Tudor will now be thinking, wouldn't it be a good idea to come into the pits and just get a set of fresh tyres, get a set of tyres that isn't as warm as these, and isn't as worn, and isn't flat spotted after a small incident like that. Of course, the danger he would be facing of coming into the pits, that would be falling further down the grid. After this, of course, fell from 2nd to 6th position, and he would fall even further down if he went into the pits like Scepter has just done, and like Lasher did on the previous lap of the Grand Prix. Of course, these drivers are on lap 9 out of 15. These tires will be beginning to feel a bit worn at this point. Of course, driven round and round on the circuit, especially that left front tire will be very damaged and very much under stress, like we saw in the real life F1 Grand Prix with Lewis Hamilton getting it home after puncturing his tire on the final lap of the Grand Prix. But now these drivers, I think none of them would be hoping to get a puncture like Lewis Hamilton, especially a driver like Fistimon, who already has a time penalty that he would be having to deal with come the end of the Grand Prix. He's in 5th place, and currently he would only fall down into 5th place due to the gap that he's been able to form to his rival of Tudor and Darius in 5th and 6th respectively. But nonetheless, Fissimon is right behind Richie B. Fissimon possibly hoping he'll be able to get past and then pull out a 3-second gap now. Heiko there's been off. I didn't even see that happening. The yellow flag system on the track there in the left hand side, it isn't coming up, but he was off the track in Maggins and Beckett's there, and that has received him a 3-second time penalty. So both going off and then adding insult to injury of also getting a 3-second time penalty. Absolute catastrophe for Heiko. He's coming into the pits now along with a driver of Flash there. Flash was leading the Grand Prix now, coming in to the pits. Richie B also pitting on this lap. Let's see where they will come out respectively. Flash there, falling first down to third as he is going again, strapping on a new set of 4 wet tyres. He will be coming out behind Dominic, that is. Let's see, coming up, will he be in front of Neil Bywater? Yes, he will, quite comfortably. So, slotting in behind Dominic and in front of Neil Bywater in 7th position. He'll be looking for the drivers in front of him to come into the pits on the next couple of laps in the hope to get back up into the lead, to get back up and leading, or back up in a position where he can win the Grand Prix. No, Dominic, you were doing so well. In 6th place, he gets himself a 3-second time penalty. So these drivers, showing these conditions, are very tough to drive in there. He's having trouble, and here comes Flash, taking 6th position away from Dominic. There, he went just round the outside of Woodcut there. Dominic having so much trouble in these conditions to just get the traction properly down, and you saw that. You saw how much he was struggling and how easy it was from Flash to just get it round the outside in Woodcut. Now he's now gone up into 6th place. Haspinall further in front in 4th place behind Darius. He's within that second of Darius in front, Darius in 3rd place as Darius decided to come into the pits. Darius, oh my! Darius getting a Flash for speeding in the pit lane there. 5-second time penalty for him. That is not okay to do, Darius, and you know it. Just getting a bit too eager on the throttle there, thinking that he can brake later than he actually can, and then just getting a small time penalty for it, or small 5 seconds is an absolute light year in motorsport, especially here in F2. So he'll be falling down the grid come the end of the Grand Prix, not like he's already doing so, falling down to 11th place with that pit stop, and of course with 5 seconds added on top of that come at the end of the Grand Prix. Currently most of the drivers falling into rhythm with quite a large gap. A driver that isn't that is Sebster and Neil Bywater. Sebster in 8th, Neil Bywater in 7th. Sebster currently holding the reverse grid pole position. Of course, in the sprint race coming after this, 8th place will take pole position, but will it be Sebster or will it be Neil Bywater for now? Sebster now going down the inside, coming into Cobb's corner, getting that position. Well done down the inside. Nicely worked from him. Neil Bywater just left on the outside, unable to defend himself, and Sebster just swooping in, saying, "Don't mind if I do," and just getting it nicely done. So now it will be Neil Bywater starting from pole position in the sprint race that we'll be seeing in about 4.5 laps time. These drivers will be, of course, 8th takes 1st, 7th takes 2nd, 6th takes 3rd, 5th takes 4th, and so that's the top, just with the bottom positions. Now Tudor coming into the pits Tudor was running in first place, but where will he come out? Will he come out in front of Richie B? Let's see. It's going to be close. No. What about Heiko as well? No. Heiko getting past as well. Darius now. It's going to be close. No, unable to get out in front of Darius. Oh no, they're in a battle there. There's contact. Hitting one of the brake markers there after just hitting the wheel of Darius. And now trying to take the position. Just behind, he has Lasher as well, trying to get up the positions. But there, a bit of controversy there on the exit of the pit lane. Bit of controversy there, hitting the wheel of the driver there and then going off the track, but still getting the position. Now Darius will try to find the space down the inside, but unable to do so. Further ahead, we saw a bit of battling. Unfortunately, those positions got done quite quickly. Those drivers, with the contrast of worn and not worn tyres, Flash there has been able to fight back what he lost from the pit stop onto that new set of wet tyres. He's in third place now. He's on the podium. He has Haspin and Fissimon in front of him. Fissimon, of course, has 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Haspin is clean for now, so he's doing a nice job. But of course, as you can see, with 4 drivers that has penalties currently, it is quite easy to get them round Silverstone. So he shouldn't just count it out for any of the drivers in front to get penalties. Now, as we're seeing some battling further behind, at least the timing board was suggesting that. Of course, you're seeing that quite tight battle for 10th place, but no one really able to go for the move. What about any of the other drivers? No. So the timing tower giving us a bit of false information, but I'm sure that it will equal itself out in the end and figure out what position should be given to who. Now Steve Jackson in 13th place, unlucky number 13, coming into the pits for a pit stop. He has Bylight behind him, Bylight with quite the large gap. Bylight has been unable to run a good Grand Prix here today. He's been quite unlucky and he's spun quite a few times. Actually, Steve Jackson going on to have soft tyres. That's interesting that he's doing that. Quite audacious to think that, because I'm seeing the rain is still falling and I'm not sure that the track is dry enough for dry tyres. But Steve Jackson thinking otherwise, and actually, oh my, the DRS has been enabled with the first driver coming on 2 dry tyres. So let's see if he's able to produce anything here with 3.5 or 2.5 left to go. Excuse me. Fissimon now coming into the pits as his teammate is battling along with Neil Bywater for reverse grid pole position. Heiko now going up into 8th place, but he does have a time penalty, but Neil Bywater doesn't, so that'll be interesting to see come the end of the Grand Prix. We're seeing a couple of drivers pitting. Dominic getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But they're all coming in for dry tyres, all coming in for soft tyres, all coming in for tyres they'll be fitting for 1.5 laps. So tyres that I'm not sure will be too effective, seeing as not much they're able to do, and we'll have to watch out for that. Here's now a change for the lead. Flash going down the inside on the hanger straight, coming into Brooklands. He went down the inside. He's still on the wet tyre. He's on fresher wet tyres than Haspin, and he went just down the inside, getting the position. Nicely done there to him. Well done to Flash, and look at the gap he's able to pull out already. So Flash just catching up with the DRS and then just nipping it down the inside. Done ever so nicely from his side and showing why he is in the championship lead. He has 1.5 laps left to go, and it's dry now if you look on the track. So let's hope that he's been able to transform these into some form of slick tyre, as we saw in the real life Turkish Grand Prix. Those drivers really doing it nicely to rub their tyres and wear their tyres down to almost a slick tyre. Let's see if Flash has been able to do the same. They're all sliding so much coming into the Vale complex there, coming into the left-hander. Now onto the start-finish straight, starting his final lap, as he'll be winning the feature race and gaining 25 points for that win. Let's see if he will be picking up the fastest lap as well. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like that'll be either Tudor or possibly one of these drivers that's gone on to the soft tyre. But Flash, nonetheless, he'll be picking up both 25 points from the feature race and 4 points from getting the pole position. So Flash almost looking to make the Grand Slam, a Grand Slam that has only been performed once this season, and it was performed by McCree at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the streets of Baku. Flash doesn't look like he'll be able to do so. He isn't putting in the times he needs to. Further behind, we'll just have to look for a second there. Lasher and Fissimon battling it out. Lasher losing, or Fissimon losing time and grip coming into, that would have been Brooklands, and just losing out the position to Lasher. But right behind him he is, and he is looking to go down the inside now of Cop's corner there. He has the better grip on those soft tyres, and he's able to get the position, leaving Lasher unable to fight back. So Fissimon going up into 8th place with 3 seconds worth of time penalty, but he has Lasher behind with 6 seconds worth of penalties. So Lasher wouldn't have been able to keep it anyways there. And now that is Darius under pressure from Fissimon. Fissimon taking the position up into 7th place, as you saw there. Flash crossed the line, Haspel has crossed the line as well. Richie B will come across now to take 4th place. Then it'll be Heiko for 5th, but will he lose it to Tudor? Let's see, it'll be close. No, he won't. Now Fissimon to cross the line. He takes 7th place, drifting across. Darius will take 8th. Lasher will take 9th. Steph Roll will go up into 8th place because of penalties. So Darius in 9th, Lasher 10th, Dominic in 11th. Neil Bywater doing some pirouettes, showing us how a ballerina would do. He'll go across the line in 12th place. Then it will be Steve Jackson, who has 40 seconds up to Neil Bywater, even after the spins we saw there in the final couple of corners. But Steve Jackson will be coming home in 13th place, and then behind him he will have Bylight with 50 seconds up to Neil Bywater, and 10 seconds up to Steve Jackson, and an even monstrous gap of a minute and 32 seconds to the leader of Flash. But he will come across the line to finish off the feature race that Flash won, meaning that he will be building an even bigger gap in the championship, showing us just the caliber that the other drivers will have to look for and the caliber that they're up against. Well done there, as he just hits it out the park, like you must say he did in the race itself. They're spraying the champagne on his fellow compatriots there. The art driver really doing well here today. Went into the lead after he grabbed the pole position, and then was just able to hold on even after the pit stops, able to just keep the other drivers away. Haspel making his way up into 2nd place, Sebster taking 3rd, Rich B taking 4th, Heiko in 5th. Tudor took 6th place. Fisimon took 7th. Steph Farrell took 8th, the fastest lap, and will be starting from pole position in the sprint race. Then Darius took 9th. Lasher took 10th. And the final points of the feature race. And then outside of the top 10, we had Dominic, Neil Bywater, Steve Jackson, and Bylight at the back. Oh, forgive me there for switching to the wrong scene, as we'll just wait for the drivers to come into the sprint race and line up on their positions. They will be lining up reversed of what they qualified. They'll be lining up in with Lasher in 8th place, Flash in 8th place, and Flash will be trying to make up as many positions as possible. Of course, round a track like Silverstone, it is not the hardest to overtake, especially not in the conditions that we will be seeing here today. It will be quite a nice sunshine. The drivers will be just hoping that the rain won't fall come the latter stages of the Grand Prix. Of course, in the sprint race, you do not have to make a pit stop, which means that many of the drivers will be starting on a set of new hard tyres. I believe it is the hard tyre we have here available today. Yes, it is the white-walled hard tyre. So you can see Steph Farrell on pole position there, pulling away nicely. As my game has once again stuck me in the TV pod mode instead of the broadcaster mode. But nonetheless, all the drivers today has chosen the hard tyre. Of course, normally in real life, the sprint race is held in the morning in sometimes quite misty conditions, with the tyres sometimes quite hard to warm up. It can be quite beautiful to watch the cars coming down the hangar straight, just coming through the mist. But enough about the real life Grand Prix and enough about the mist. I'm sure that the drivers will be hoping to see it clear out of their vices, hoping that they can see the other drivers quite clearly so they don't run into each other. Of course, that's not something we want to see. The drivers, of course, not needing to make a pit stop here in the sprint race, so most of the drivers, if not all the drivers, will be strapping on this set of hard tyres here at the beginning and then going all the way to the end, all 11 laps on that same tyre. Of course, here at Silverstone, tyre wear can be extremely high, especially on the front left, as stated in the feature race already. So some of these drivers might have issues come the latter stages of the Grand Prix, but I'm sure that these drivers will be capable, at least capable enough, of keeping themselves away from any punctures, and that they'll be able to keep the tyre on for the whole Grand Prix, as they have warmed it up, as well as the brakes temperatures to optimal conditions, as they'll be lining up on the grid, and Steph Farrell will be pulling out in the first spot, and I'm sure that he hopes that it will be happening for the first of 11 times. The final drivers lining up behind, and we'll see the 5 red lights come on. It's 5 red lights, they're held on, and it's lights up for the drivers as well. Of course, they go earlier for us than they do for the drivers there. Steph Farrell getting a good start. That can't be said for Fisimon. He's under pressure from Tudor already. Tudor down the inside, but there goes Fisimon around the outside. Goes up into the lead. Steph Farrell down to second. Under pressure from Tudor there. Tudor unable to challenge him. Richie B there went wide, but up into 4th place. He goes now, falling down a bit. Oh, there's contact behind. Contact and yellow flags in sector 1. But they're still battling. going on there. You see, I believe that is for third place there. You're seeing Tudor trying to go around on the outside of Steph Roll there. But Steph Roll defending nicely in second place there. But down the inside he is. Down the inside he's getting the position there on the exit. Well done for Tudor up into second place. Steph Roll now falling further down from his grid slot. You're seeing Richie B in 5th place now trying to challenge Sebster in 4th place. But I don't think he's able to do so just yet. He's so close though. Now through Magnus and Beckett, will he be wanting or going for the move? It does not look like he will. Now, down the hangar straight. These drivers just forming a nice line. You can see all the drivers there like pebbles on a string. There, Richie be trying to find a way down the inside there. Sebster very wide he goes, and almost, I'm sure that will cause a warning from the game itself. I'm sure that the game will be happy to see extensions like that. Now, look at Richie be into the first corner, unable to go for the move there as well. As Darius now, oh my, Darius in 13th place, fell far down. I believe he was involved with the contact on lap 1, and now just adding insult to injury with that 3-second time penalty. Now Dominic as well, these drivers, it's all the drivers starting with R or with D as well, getting the penalties here at the beginning. So of course they're having a bit of a hard time, although I don't think there's any causation of or correlation between a name starting with D and time penalties. Nonetheless, they will be carrying on in this race, trying to make up positions and trying to make up their time penalties. A driver, I believe, wanting to go for the move very much of these two is Darius in 12th place, right behind Steve Jackson, and quite close actually. Coming out on to the hangar straight, I'm sure that he will be hoping to go for the move. Further in front, you're seeing Dominic and Flash battle here. Flash going defensive, but so did Dominic for a second there, trying to find the gap on the inside there, but he's forced around the outside through Stowe. They're still side by side now, coming through into Vale, but it looks like Flash will be taking them, but no, he's round the outside still. It is so close between these two. I'm not getting very good camera angles, but they're Flash defending nicely on the inside of a club and able to keep the position of 8th place. Now it's Haspin picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. So the drivers going from the beach race where we didn't see many time penalties into now the sprint race where we're seeing a lot of time penalties. So these drivers may be getting a bit too confident around the track and they're thinking that they can extend the track a bit too much. As now we're on lap number 3. We're on the lap where DRS gets enabled, and look at this, how close it is between Fissimon and Tudor for the race lead here in the sprint race. Now coming into Cop's corner there, Fissimon very defensive, Tudor forced around the outside, then trying to switch back move there. Now they'll be coming in to Maggins and Beckett. Will Tudor be going for the move? It'll be very audacious to do so. He was thinking down the inside, but it was closed quite rudely, the door, by Fissimon, just in the face of Tudor. Fissimon saying, no, you will not be granted access here. And then down the hangar straight now, Fissimon going very, very defensive, but Tudor with the DRS around the outside, trying to find the space, trying to find the grip. He's able to do so, and they're side by side now. They'll be coming down into Vale, and now look at that behind. Steph Farrell is caught up to this battle now. Fissimon and Tudor still side by side. Fissimon on the inside of Club, but no, unable to defend even more. Further behind, you're seeing contact between Heiko and Steve Jackson. Not sure what happened, but a virtual safety car has been deployed. Heiko down in last place. Steve Jackson out of the Grand Prix. Not sure what happened between those two, but nonetheless, a virtual safety car has been deployed. Now let's just have a run through of what just happened on that lap. Tudor took the race lead of Fissimon, and Steph Farrell caught up to that battle, meaning that we might be able to very soon see a three-way battle for the lead. Sebster right behind in 4th place as well, and Lasher very close as well. So all of a sudden we're seeing almost a 5-way battle for the lead. The absolute scenes, absolute limb scenes, we'll be able to see here in the sprint race of F2. And oh my, Heiko with a drive-through penalty. He just went a bit too early on the start and got speeding under the pit lane. Someone else picked up a time penalty. Let's just jump over and see, instead of the position changes, the penalties. We have Haspin and Darius with 3 seconds, Dominic with 3 seconds, Lasher with 5, and Steph Farrell with 3. In front there, Fissimon trying to find a way past Tudor. Further behind, Flash and Lasher going side by side into Stowe. Flash finding a way past Lasher. Flash now up into 5th place. He goes, able to just get those positions that he didn't get from the race start, of course, bogging it down as he won the sprint or the feature race. Fissimon, oh my, these drivers just unable to keep it within the lines, and this has practically granted the win of this Grand Prix to Tudor, because behind him he has Fissimon and Steph Farrell, both with 3-second time penalties. So the drivers behind, even if they get past, they'll have to run a 3-second gap on him. So he's pretty much safe, which is must be quite nice for him to be in the cockpit knowing that. But I'm sure that the drivers around him won't be that happy. Now further behind, you're seeing Sebster trying to find a way past Steph Farrell. Sebster in 4th place, Steph Farrell in 3rd, just in front. They'll be coming out into the hangar straight, and of course Sebster will have the DRS of Steph Farrell, but so will Steph Farrell of Fissimon in front as well. We're on lap number 5 of 11 of this Grand Prix, and the field is looking very tight. Unfortunately, many of the drivers does have time penalties, meaning that the grid won't look like this come the end there. Sebster, oh my, trying to just find the way down the inside, and now coming under pressure from Richie B behind there. He tried to find his way down the inside, hit the curb and didn't get the best of the exits. Then just Richie B there? No, Flash, I'm sorry. Just able to find his way past up into 4th place he goes. So now it'll be Flash that takes the podium position instead of Steph Farrell and Sebster. It's a great job there from Flash. All the way down from 8th place where he started, he's made his way up into 4th place, and there's still plenty of time left in this Grand Prix for him to get even more positions. So Flash doing a great job of just making his way through the pack. He's shown it time and time again, unlike other drivers in this field, that he can start further down and then just fight his way nicely through the positions, just carve his way through the field while still being patient, whilst avoiding contact with other drivers, avoiding contact and damage as well. But now, coming on to the hangar straight, he's right behind Steph Farrell. He's right behind that podium position on track. He'll be looking to go down the inside, or will he? No. Just decides not to go for it there. What about on the exit? No. Isn't it close enough? Down into Vale? No. Cleverly still staying behind. But it's getting closer and closer between himself and Steph Farrell. Of course, Steph Farrell and Fissimon in front both have time penalties, but I'm confident that Flash wants to get past, even though he might know that, because in front with 2.8 seconds in front of Flash. A bit more actually. He has Tudor. He has one of his championship rivals. Albeit, Tudor is in 4th place. He does have 45 points up to Flash. But that gap can be minimised quite quickly if Flash isn't able to get points or get good amounts of points in Grand Prix. So he will know that he needs to score as many points as possible, and he wants to get past these two drivers in front, and he wants to catch up to that Prema car in 1st place. As there's some yellow flags further behind. I believe that might have been Neil Bywater being off track. So he's not having the best race. He's down in 10th place for him. He has had quite a hard season. Although his gained positions is in this Grand Prix, he's been unable to get into the top 8. That, of course, in the sprint race gives you points. But now look at this. It is very close here on the back straight. You're seeing, I believe, that is Fissimon ahead there. So you're seeing Sebster able to catch up to this train. Flash being held quite a bit behind these drivers. So now it's all of a sudden a 4-way battle for 2nd place. All of a sudden a battle that I think Sebster wouldn't have thought himself to be in a couple of laps ago. But he's in it nonetheless. Flash now very close behind Steph Farrell. Very close behind that Sauber Junior team of Charouz. Flash there just trying to find his way past. And it must just be so annoying to see that Sauber back wing just opening and closing every single lap, unable to find a way past it, and then knowing right in front there's a car in the back or rear wing that you'll be looking behind even more. But now on to the old start finish straight. Now down into Cop's corner. Will Flash be able to find a way past? Not yet. Into Maggots and Beckett's, what about there? Of course, coming past the DRS detection point now, so even if he gets past, he'll still have DRS, which is very important on these drivers. Of course, if you have DRS, you can be quite vulnerable. You can be a sitting duck down the straight now. Onto the hangar straight. Flash getting the better exit. Then Steph Farrell able to pull to the right hand side. Able to pull down the inside into Stowe. And it looks like he's gotten the position down the inside. They're still side by side a bit there. Down the inside now goes Steph Farrell into Vale. But he'll have the outside into the second part. And then he's losing the position. He's gone down into 4th place. And Flash has gone up into 3rd. And now his next goal will be Fissimon in front. Fissimon, a driver that's been doing a bit meh in this season. A driver that I'll be hoping to score a large amount of points and getting the positions he's getting today. But he'll have the championship leader right behind him. He'll have a driver with immense amounts of pace. You have a driver with DRS right behind him. And that'll be very hard to defend for. 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Let's see what Fissimon is able to do. Coming now onto the old start finish straight. And then they'll be coming in to Cox Corner and Maggots and Beckett's, where he can feel quite safe, knowing that it's not the easiest place to get past. But then the hangar straight and Stowe will come. Places where it can be very easy to get past if you have DRS. DRS that Flash has, DRS that Fissimon does not have. The only thing he has to defend with is his DRS and his ability to try and break slipstream. You can just see down the straight there how much Flash is catching up to him. Now they'll be coming into Vale, a place that's quite hard to overtake him as well. But you saw, if a driver really wants to get past, they will get past. Some yellow flags, I believe that must have been for Lasher in last place. She's not had the best of weekends now, and look at that, how much Flash just caught up in the first corner through the first right-hander. Now coming in to the second part of Sector 1, he's trying to come his way round the outside of the loop, then into Aintree, round the outside he goes, left US, then oh, there's contact there, fishing on off the track, and into the wall he goes. Flash trying to hold back, Flash knowing that it was his fault for the contact. Flash doing the very valiant thing of holding back and giving the position back, and Fissimon gone into 5th place, Flash into 6th. On the exit of Aintree, you just saw Fissimon trying to go as far to the right hand side, trying to force Flash wide, and Flash just having that small bit of contact, and then just boom, Flash off the track. Very much like the contact we saw between the two Haas drivers back in 2019, I believe, in that absolutely horrid season of them where everything began to go downhill. And that season, you just saw those drivers at the British Grand Prix just hit each other as well. Very much like the contact here between Flash and Fissimon. And this has meant that Steph Farrell might actually get a podium position, because with this time penalty, he will be falling down to 3rd for now, but it will be very close if Richie B can get back up there as they've come on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. A final lap that should have fought out the final 2nd place between Flash and Fissimon, but ultimately it wasn't to be. Instead, we'll see possibly a battle between Sebster and Steph Farrell, as Dominic has retired from the Grand Prix at such a late stage in the Grand Prix. Very unfortunate to see from him, but a driver that we just need to have a look at in this. A driver that we haven't looked much at this whole Grand Prix, and it's for one simple reason. Tudor. He's just run off in the distance, 4.8 seconds down to 2nd place. He has done absolutely magnificently to get that far in front, and done absolutely magnificently to keep himself away from time penalties. As, oh my, that's Steph Farrell. Steph Farrell gone through Maggots and Beckets. Steph Farrell, who was in 2nd place, albeit with the time penalty, but he was probably going to get 3rd place anyway. He's fallen down to 4th. Lucky he doesn't fall further down and losing position to Fissimon. But Tudor, 5.5 seconds, he will cross the line, take the checkered flag first, take the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and win the sprint race. Having a hard time with my words there. I'm very sorry for that. Richie B taking 3rd place, Sebster taking 2nd. Steph Farrell will come across the line, albeit with a time penalty, take 4th place. Fissimon further behind takes 5th place. Darius will fall down because of time penalties. Flash takes 6th. Neil Bywater takes 7th. Hasbro in 8th. Darius in 9th across the line there. Biolite will come across the line in 10th. Then we'll have Heiko in 11th. And then Lasher at the back to round off the grid. Or round off the Grand Prix here. Lasher there, oh my, going very, very deep into the rail chicane. He's gotten a puncture. He's gotten a puncture on his left front tyre. He was on the soft tyre. How many laps has he gone on that tyre? I'm unsure. But he's gotten a puncture in the final lap, in the final couple of corners. Oh my. But does valiantly to get it across the line in the end. But unfortunately for him, it was for last place anyway. But there you see Tudor taking that win in that Prema, doing very, very well in this Grand Prix to take those positions. Tudor, he will jump up in the championship standings a bit, I believe, as McCree in 3rd place wasn't here today. But Nonetheless, I believe that Flash is able to pull a bit further out in the lead in this championship. A championship that is looking a bit tight at the top. Rich should be taking third place, meaning that he will get some positions or at least gain some points. Here you see how it all shaped out. Winning the weekend, we have Flash with 33 points. Sebster taking second place. Tudor will take third. Richie B will take fourth. Hashman will take fifth. Steph Roll will take sixth. Fisherman will take seventh. Heiko will take eighth. Darius in ninth. Neil Bywater will take 10th, equal with Darius in ninth. Lasher will take 11th. And then a couple of drivers at the back not scoring any points this weekend. And with that being said, and with the reminder that the championship is still very open, I believe that it is time to say goodnight and goodbye this evening. Great battling, great driving to see from these drivers all throughout the evening. And we will be back next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest. But until then, have a good one, take care, stay safe, and goodbye.